Morning. Today's Friday, December 19th. This is the Dryden Public Broadband Committee meeting. This is the second meeting of the month, which is when we do our updates and discussion on topics. A lot of stuff happened in the last 2 weeks and the last 52 weeks. This is our last meeting of the year. Um, so it'll be a little bit of recap, but mostly just focusing on everything that's been going on in the month of November and December since we last met. I put together an agenda. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Here we go. So today I want to cover brief introductions, the mission, municipal infrastructure program update. We are 377 days away from the deadline as of today. So just over a year. The deadline's 12/31/26. I'll talk about Plume and Plume updates, fiber to the premises project update. Uh, Scott Brown's going to help us out with a couple things with the DC power rectifier and IP address needs in 2026. And then if we haven't already covered it, we'll do construction updates and then just talk about the schedule for the next 2 to 3 months with the Broadband Committee. So as we do with each of these meetings, we'll start with the mission. Is there a member of the Broadband Committee who'd like to read the mission and share their experience in as a customer or as a member of the committee with the mission? Anyone who hasn't done it lately? Dan, you haven't done it in like a month. Go for it.
In a month. I think it's been a month. We have a mission?
I
Well,
think,
yes, our
I think so.
mission is to provide reliable, affordable, high-speed, fiber-based internet services, internet access. We offer state-of-the-art technology and unmatched customer service.
Thanks, Dan.
This this is where you ask, what does that mean to me?
I'd love to know what this means to you.
The same as I said last time. It's a good mission statement, and it means that we got to keep our eye on the ball.
So one of the pieces of this is the fiber-based internet service. Over the last few months, as we've been working to bring service to MDUs, these are typically apartment buildings or mobile home parks. There has been suggestions, we're open to suggestions, that we just put in a tower at the mobile home park and just broadcast fixed wireless to the individual units.
What
And
speeds can we get that?
fixed wireless, I think I think you can get up to 500. I think. I mean, Scott or
Not
Brad might have some
Not
experience.
here. I get five.
5 meg.
Yeah.
Well, I think in a mobile home park you'd be much closer.
Yeah. Okay.
I believe your broadcast device is like on Beam Hill or somewhere, like many, many miles away or some crazy thing. Um, so there is that possibility that we could do fixed wireless within a small geographical area. However, that does not follow the mission of fiber-based internet access. So for now, we've said that's a good suggestion. We're going to hold off on that until we have tried everything else to bring fiber to the individual customers, buildings, homes, because it's in the mission. If the mission was provide high speed, anything based internet access and not fiber based, I think it would be a lot easier to say, well, shrug our shoulders and say, yeah, we'll just do a wireless service. Uh, that's how I'm reading the mission and how we're implementing today.
Do
Doesn't
we
mean it
have
can't be changed. Go ahead, Graham.
Dave, do we have Pacific parks that you're thinking of doing that in? Or what engineering thing are we solving for this one to do
It's
this?
it's almost every mobile home park that has up to seven existing utilities underground, where the alternative is right now for Fall Creek Park and Etna is to be putting in seven new utility poles and then running fiber, stranded fiber aerial across the park and then drops to each individual home. But there are many other parks. There's Hillside Acres, there's the Hanshaw Village Park on Hanshaw Road, there's Little Creek on North Road here in just north of the village of
Mhm.
Dryden, and there's a big park up in McLean. All four of those, oh, it's not that funny, but all four of those parks have a substantial number of underground utilities, water, sewer, electric, cable, telephone, and in some cases, natural gas and or lighting districts. So a fixed wireless broadcast is an easy way to like check the box, but does not follow the
Yeah.
mission.
Well, in some ways still does because we're just running it to that one property. That's property's owned by one owner. They're making money off it. So the question is that I mean, could partly be how much is the cost and how much is every other participant supporting that cost for a profit making enterprise on the for the landlords. So I I, I don't feel that you're missing, maybe you aren't missing I think it aligns with the mission because we should be trying to be cost effective too. So I think we need to look at that because one of our install costs for putting that number of poles, I it that's a lot. I mean, because as we're going well over a 500 foot or whatever, I mean, it's equivalent of us doing a special setup for that. So,
Yeah, we
but
don't have enough case studies to work through to say,
yeah.
is it more or less costly than the individual home install? Although, if we just looked at the estimated cost for Fall Creek Park alone, it's about 40,000 to put in the poles, strand, fiber, splicing, install the MSTs, get them ready for installs.
Mhm.
And it's 38 units. So it's on that part alone, it's close to the existing $1,000 per install for a single family home.
Yeah.
I still have to run drop cables and do the installs, but those installs should be much lower labor cost for clarity on average because you're just running it from the pole to the unit versus
Mhm.
long runs across yards or doing it should be. So I think it's worth a discussion, but as part of our mission, we've been focused on fiber as far as we can get to the actual end user.
Yeah.
I'm hearing a lot of background from someone, not sure who else. Uh, well, I appreciate that Dan read the mission, that it's part of the discussion. It's part of how we make decisions. If the organization had no mission, it could just be a bit more of a free-for-all of varying service, varying customer service, varying technologies to provide various solutions to people. So this helps us keep us focused. With that, let's go into the MIP infrastructure program update. Remember, this is the New York State funded uh, part of our project, which covers all the construction in Caroline and a substantial amount of construction in Dryden, although not all of it. The letter I sent to the Broadband Committee and the town board earlier this week um, was that good news. As of Friday afternoon, we have a signed and co-signed, countersigned agreement for the grant disbursement, which means we can now start to request reimbursement funds for the project. This is to do a little over 140 miles of fiber, about 90% aerial across Dryden and Caroline. The first part of that construction was awarded to Syracuse Utilities back in September, and the next part was posted last Friday on the 12th. The third part, which covers Caroline, will be posted in early January and be awarded in February. We are aiming to have all the electrical make-ready completed by May 1st, which will give enough months of the year to do all the construction. As I've shared with some of you individually, this is a lot of miles to do in a short 12-month period of time. Given the miles per month or miles per year we've constructed so far, this will turn out being somewhere between 8 and 16 times faster construction than we've ever done in the past. However, it's also way more defined, spelled out with these bids, these RFPs, the bids, the awarded contracts to give the timelines. I want to go a little bit more detail on the milestones because the GDA being signed allows us to submit our first milestone. The first milestone at the top of this table requires us to have network design, construction documents, pole attachment applications, and purchase orders for procured items. That's the documentation that we are required. On the engineering side, all engineering across the entire 147 miles has to be completed, as well as procurement initiated and pole attachments. We have successfully, we believe, done all the steps required to submit this milestone request, the first reimbursement, which will be about $2 million. Before we go on, Amanda or Brad, anything on milestone one we should let the Broadband Committee know about?
I think I'd just say for reimbursement side, we have completed some steps in there. So we're already starting to gather the documents on the accounting side for this milestone. So as soon as the remaining, the last few pieces of the engineering is submitted and approved, we should be able to send everything at once. So just good steps forward and looking forward to hit and send on all of those at once.
Thank you
And
very
from the
much.
engineering side, Dave, obviously, as you and Amanda are aware, we've gone back and forth a fair amount on kind of a pencil copy review of Freeville. We've gotten to a point of understanding of exactly what they want and need. So I suspect that should flow smoothly, much like Amanda kind of did a pencil copy review on reimbursement. We did it on engineering as well to make sure everything was in order. So when we do upload that information, it's in the format and has the level of detail they've asked.
Yeah, I mean, I would say that as difficult, if that's the right word to use, as difficult as it's been to work with the state on all the different parts. This is a 180-page grant disbursement agreement. They have allowed us to get started on the reimbursement request details in advance of having this signed and in advance of not of the we're all done. We put everything together the way we think it needs to be together. We've been sending them information from Amanda and Matt and the accounting team and from Brad on the engineering side for months so they can review it. They call it the pencil review, where they like just go through and say like, this is pretty good, make this adjustment. This is pretty good, make that adjustment. So that way, when we are ready to send the final version for reimbursement, it's basically cleared most of the major hurdles, or all of them in the most ideal situation. All right, at the top of the page, I put this milestone 2, 3, and 4. There are milestone limitations on how much we can request on the finance side for milestone 2, 3, and 4. But the bigger piece is that construction has to be completed, which means fiber is installed and spliced and ready for installs to achieve the milestone 2, 3, and 4, and then allow us for reimbursements. Milestone 2 requires us to have 30% of the project completed, or 44 miles. Milestone 3 is 75% of the project, or 110 miles. And the final one has two pieces, both 100% of the fiber installed as well as before 12/31/26. Depending on how we get things done, these might come all pretty close to each other within a few months of each other. Because the big gatekeeper, the big milestone piece of milestone 2 is getting those 44 miles completed. They don't want to pay us if we can't get customers on the platform. Any questions on those milestones, fiber installed miles? All right, I'll send this document over after the meeting. I put together this estimated schedule for the three projects that cover this. So project one, Freeville expansion, that was awarded in September due to mostly electrical make ready and a little bit of the audit and a little bit of the engineering. The start date is now this month with an estimated end date with 60 business days of 3/31/2026. I don't have the exact number of MIP and non-MIP miles, but the total of this is only 28.53 miles. So getting this done alone is not enough for milestone two, which is 44 miles. The next project is the Greater Dryden. That's everything else that's not currently in the green zone or currently in the Freeville expansion. That's 106 miles. That went out, that was posted last Friday and will be awarded on, I think, January 12th or 13th is the current award date, or that's the due date. It would then be awarded on January 15th. That's 120 days. So if the start date is around February 1st, 20 business days per month, we have February, March, April, May, June, July. That one would end on July 31st. That's also a combination of MIP and non-MIP miles right now. This includes like Route 13, which is covered by Spectrum. It's not MIP area at all, but that's rolled into this Greater Dryden project. Now, from this bid that's out there, this RFP that's out there for bid, with a 120-day schedule, with the award being on January 15th, it's saying that all things being equal, if we start on February 1st, all of Dryden construction would be completed, the entire town. Bethel Grove, Ellis Hollow, Dryden Lake, Varna, Etna, by 7/31/26. Now, while Freeville expansion and Greater Dryden are being worked on, the Caroline project will also be getting bid out. As Brad said, the designs will be to us by the end of the month. We'll put it out to bid in early January. It'll be out there for 15 days. We'll have a project conference about a week before it's due, and then award it probably at the February town board meeting on February 12th, if not sooner, with a start date in March. I think it's also 120 days. I don't have that exact number yet, but that would end around August 31st and give us 4 full months of buffer time to finish everything by the end of the year, which we will need on the installations, which is separate from this, but for construction, that will give us 4 months of extra time. Now, Greater Dryden is only 106 miles. And as I said before, milestone three is 110 completed miles. I believe that even with project one, which is split MIP, non-MIP, and project two, which is split MIP and non-MIP, we're going to need at least some of project three, which is Caroline, to be completed before we can do the milestone three request. So not only does Caroline have to get awarded, it has to be at least partially completed with splicing done, with service available to Caroline residents in order to submit for reimbursement number three. Let me stop there before we do blockers. Any questions on the projects, the award dates, estimated dates, days of construction, or milestones, and how they relate to the projects?
It all looks good, but boy, it seems aggressive.
Yes, it does.
But it's what we have to do.
As of right now, the award from this grant is $11.6 million for us to go and earn back by completing the work in the GDA. So if the town, the project, the towns together, the team wants to receive that money from the state, the work has to get done on time.
How confident are you to get the Caroline bid together?
I mean, I feel good about it. I mean, a lot of work's already been done on electrical make ready. A lot of work's already been done on the planning and the staking, and because it's the third one, we've learned a lot from the first bid that we implemented it in the second bid, and now we're learning a little bit more. So by the time we get to this, I think doing the RFP for future expansion is just going to be easier and easier the more we do it. So I feel okay about the Caroline one.
Just from the engineering perspective too, the Caroline one is much easier because we're not up against what has already been built.
It's all new. You can do it right this time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will not be any overlashing or returning to existing Dryden fiber build out to add more fiber, either underground or aerial in Caroline, because we haven't done it yet. So it's all very green. All right.
So
Go ahead. Go ahead, Graham.
all I can say, when Brad had last given us, we were looking at the Caroline dates I have were a little earlier than that by around a month. So it was 12/11, but that you were going to work on getting the contracts together and the bidding on 12/23. So this has slipped again, and we keep slipping things slightly. So
Yeah, I think what I had been communicating to Dave is 12/29. I think when that was organized, it was my smart sheet person made that a week earlier, but
okay,
the date we've set with Dave for quite some time now is 12/29.
okay.
I think our projected date to post it would be on the second, the first day of the 15-day open period would be the 5th of January. It would go through the 26th. And then we would have all the bids in hand by the 26th, review them, have the bid opening. However, the next town board meeting does not happen until the 12th of February. So we have like 12 business days. So it's almost like we have a little bit of extra buffer that I'm totally good to have a bid ready to go, ready to be recommended 10 days before the town board meeting. But if we need any space, because of the town board meeting schedule, we have a little bit of space. But that's the schedule is January 5th to the 26th for that bid period. All right, I've been doing some assessment mostly with Brad on potential blockers. So this is what we came up with for some blockers. We shared these with the town board last night. Electrical make ready is probably the biggest one, receiving provisional licenses to attach to poles. The current issue with that is the 25 kVA transformers. Currently, most transformers are 10s. NYSEG has required that we upgrade those to 25. We said, okay, that's fine. And they said, well, we don't have enough of 25s available, but you still need to do 25s. So we have a number of bid packages, including in the Freeville expansion area, where we're down to like 1, 2, 3 of these 25 kVA transformers, which we cannot install because we don't have them, which means we can't close out the entire 150 pole permit with NYSEG until that's been done, which means we can't hand that work over to Syracuse Utilities because we don't have the provisional license. Now, we're probably talking every day between myself, Vantage, NYSEG, and the two electrical make-ready subcontractors. This is the number one issue we have right now. Without these transformers, we can't get electrical make-ready completed. We can't get the licenses to have our construction teams go out and run the stranded fiber.
And there's no way of getting a provisional license because if they got the pole set, this and that, we just don't have them run the electrical. Or do they have to absolutely do electrical first?
So the way it works, make-ready packs are submitted in batches of up to 150 poles, Graham. We don't get the conditional license until the make-ready is done on all 150 of those poles. There is a card we can play if we continue to kind of get spoon-fed transformers, if you will, and negotiating with them to, hey, can we just transfer the old 10 kVA for now? But again, the feedback we're getting from NICEAG is, oh, we're working with your EMR vendors, everything's fine, but it's not quite fine. So it's still kind of number one on our list to work with them and resolve that.
Yeah, we're trying to bridge the gap between what they say verbally and what they write in emails to the reality of what's going on in the field.
Yeah.
And right now there's a gap between just different layers within the NICEAG organization about what people are saying is happening and what is actually happening. It's just there's a miss.
Mm.
And we're seeing it. We just have to make sure that they see it too. And then as needed, have New York State come in. We had one pole issue in the McLean area where one of our electrical make-ready trucks or companies said, due to what's going on with this, we're going to need a second crew in for one day with a second bucket truck, second team of flaggers for traffic, techs, everything to do this work. And they're estimating for that one day, it was like $16,000. So when we think about like transferring the existing 10 kVAs and having another team come in later to replace that 10 with 25, it's a substantial expense
Yeah.
to the not even to us, but to NICEAG. It's substantial savings to NICEAG to piggyback that work into our electrical make ready. Like somewhere in their master plan for the decade is replace the 10s with 25s. This is a chance to do that for a whole bunch of them. And to some degree, split the cost of the truck, the bucket truck going up and down, bringing stuff up and down these poles.
Mhm.
With us, we have to be there for our project. We might as well do that, have the truck be there and do their project too.
Yeah.
As a NICEAG customer, both as personally as a company, Trident Fiber is a customer of NICEAG. Anywhere we can save expenses is good for us and for other consumers. So in theory, we're okay with this. Just in practice, if it delays us too much, it can have an impact on the overall project.
And have we had a discussion with the Connect All people about what if we miss our deadline because of this sort of thing that, these things are slightly beyond our control. Isn't.
Yes.
Okay.
However, they basically pushed back and said, show us your work of what you've done so far with NICEAG, with your electrical make-ready contractors, what they said they were going to do, what they told us they were going to do, what they told you they were going to do, what they actually did. And honestly, it's not a full-time job, but it's a part-time job for
Yeah.
Brad and Carlos from Vantage and myself and Amanda to track down NICEAG, Labella, the electrical make-ready
Mhm.
contractors, what people are saying is happening and what's really happening. And basically do those touches sometimes once or twice a day. So we should have everything we need by the end of today to go back to the state and say, hey, party one, we'll say party one is NICEAG, said XYZ, and the reality is
Mhm.
something completely different. And then the state can help us out with either relaxing the requirements, as Brad said, to switch to 25 kVAs or something else to get more resources in on the NICEAG side. Other blockers, weather. There's always a chance that there's a long, cold winter or a really challenging mud season, with both underground and replacing poles or doing other work. Um, there are a number of places in both the Greater Dryden and in Caroline that are in fields, in the woods, not in the direct right of way of the roads because of where the existing power lines are. Equipment, there could be issues with acquiring stranded fiber, handholds, MSTs, other material. Although last night the town board approved a large acquisition of material request by Dryden Fiber for both Dryden and Caroline. So we get those orders in today, get those signed, get those orders flowing. That should eliminate that blocker. And then there's also potential right-of-way resistance, either from New York State, from permitting, or from NYSEG easements, just customers saying, hey, like, I think I have more control over this NYSEG easement from 1929 than you do. We might have to negotiate some of those, or not negotiate. We just have to explain to people like NYSEG has granted us the access, but that could slow things down by some amount of time. It's it's good in Carolina. It's a lot of green zone, a lot of undisturbed. We haven't been there. We haven't built anything yet, so there's nothing to fix. However, there's not a single foot of Dryden fiber in Caroline, so we don't know what the response of the property owners will be when we actually bring stuff in. We're going to learn that in the next 3 to 6 months and then work our way through those cases. There's probably a handful of other blockers, but those are the ones that were probably the top of mind ones. Questions, thoughts? Okay. Good.
Only how far are the? I understand these are holding things up, but Syracuse Utilities is still working on everything else they can. So I assume.
Yeah, I think they've been
Or is
working.
this?
I think they were
Or
they
we
were in
hope?
they were in Dryden this week working, and last week and the week before. I think a majority of the underground work in the Freeville expansion is completed. There might be a few more segments left, and Ariel is. Oh, Sean's here. Sean can say where they're at.
Yeah, we've completed, as far as the underground goes, we're pretty much all caught up on everything we can do, waiting on permitting, for a few locations. And then the aerial, the guys started this week. They're installing anchors and as much strand as they can in certain areas. We haven't started strand placement because some of the make ready isn't ready yet. But there's a section of overlash that they're going to start on Monday. I think it's a 2 mile section. But they're working on anchors as well.
Great. Thanks, Sean. One way for us to keep things moving forward is we're starting a Monday morning, start the week call with Dryden Fiber, Syracuse Utilities, and Vantage. 60 days seems like a lot, but it's only 12 weeks, so checking in on that for the rest of the Freeville expansion project and then the rest of the projects, it's going to be important to just make sure that no period of time over the next 3 months for this particular project goes without a meeting every 7 days. It's not like, oh, a month ago I said this thing happened. Like that won't happen, or even 2 weeks ago. There'll just be some pretty consistent touches.
Is Syracuse Utilities doing the splicing in the Freeville expansion?
The bid awarded them the splicing as well as the construction.
Okay. Is there splicing work? So before the stoppage, there was some, as I recall, there were some strands hung. I want to say out West Dryden Road, maybe that direction.
West Dryden Road, Route 38 North, which is also
Has
Groton
any
Road.
has
Um,
any of that been has any
Ed
of
Hill
that been
Road,
spliced in?
not yet.
Okay.
I believe one of the reasons is, which we'll get to on number 4 on the agenda, the fiber to the premises blocker with the running out of ports on the SANA devices. We had to get a new vendor in that once we could do the splicing, but also have to bring in the MSTs, which will have to talk back to the box in the pop.
Right. We need ports in the pop, right? Yeah.
So instead of having, I mean, we could do all the splicing, splice in all the MSTs, have a person in the pop checking the light levels, and then going back a second time to plug each of those lines
No,
into the new device.
yeah,
Yeah,
no,
we
that
don't.
seems silly. That seems silly. Yeah.
Generally, that's the reason why we haven't focused on that.
Okay. All right.
As
All right.
well as,
All right. That makes sense. I get it.
And
yeah, go ahead, Brad. Oh, go ahead, Graham.
yeah, I assume you made Calix aware that they won the bid, and do we know when that have they said when they can deliver the equipment we need in the pop and these MSTs?
It was it was approved last night. It hasn't been signed
Mhm.
yet.
Oh, okay.
We'll get a signature filed today. Hopefully, we can get it signed shortly. Although the RFP did say it needs to be in hand, I think by January 9th, which works out okay for our schedule.
Okay, good.
So
Right.
as part of the request, it was like, at least for one, at least for the Freeville pop. We don't necessarily
Yeah,
need the equipment for Caroline
yeah.
immediately, or even the Dryden Central Office or Freeville or Pinckney or Yellow Barn. But for Freeville, we do need it. So at least one piece of equipment we'll need.
So just a kind of a detailed Syracuse Utilities question is are the crews that are doing the splicing different than the crews that are doing the construction?
Yeah. Yes,
Okay.
the splicing crews, underground crews, and aerial crews are all separate crews.
Separate groups. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So as soon as that device goes in, then the splicing crews could start working on some of the splicing that's outstanding.
As soon as we get direction from Vantage,
Right.
what they need,
Right.
yes, we absolutely
Right.
can do with it.
Right. Right. Okay.
All right. We can talk a little bit more about some of those in a second. I want to just touch on Appendix 4. This also came up last night at the town board meeting. Uh, it's just a big wall of text. So uh, we have been negotiating with Plume over the last couple of months, and we being mostly the town attorney, Nathan Van Wy, and myself, talking directly with Plume. In 2021, Dryden Fiber, town of Dryden, signed a 10-year contract with Plume to provide cloud services for our Wi-Fi devices. At the time, there was a very optimistic construction timeline put together for the project where they believe we would be completed by 2023, maybe 2024. And by that, they estimated that by now we would have 2,500 customers, and by February, 3,000 customers. As you know, we have about 500 customers. The way they built that contract was every 6 months, they increased the rate, the price that the town of Dryden and Dryden Fiber pays to Plume, no matter how many customers we have. So it started at about $500 a month, and then every 6 months, it went up by $450, until in September, it reached $2,250 per month. Now, that should have been to service somewhere in the 2,000 to 2,500 customers, but we only had about 460 customers at that point. I brought that to Plume. Nathan joined me on some calls. He said, this is just not a good contract for us. We're just not even close. We don't even have 2,000 households we could reach if every single person signed up. And they took it to heart. I mean, they know that we are a new ISP, we're building. We've had some changes with moving to Vantage. And they came back with an agreement that resets the monthly fee from $2,250 a month, which is what it is today, which is set to go up to $2,700 a month on February 1st. We've reset that to $744 a month starting January 1st, and that will stay at that rate for 6 months. Now, it still has the every 6 month growth, but the growth is uh, a lot more aligned with our new construction plan, which actually has bids and awarded construction and timelines and deadlines, which the project has never had before. There was never a bid process before. Our bidders who were awarded work were never awarded through RFPs. There was no penalties for being late, for the engineering being late to provide materials to construction. Uh, so now that we have these places in part on that part of the project, it makes more sense to have a revised version with Plume. Now, given that this is a 10-year agreement and we are in year 4 of it, this was something that the town board and the town attorney said this is a piece of the project that can be negotiated directly between town board and executive director and not necessarily the broadband committee because we're not looking for new vendors. We're not looking for assessment. There's not an RFP. It's renegotiating an existing contract. So plus I really wanted the broadband committee to focus on Calix and the MIP project and everything else. And this seemed like a small win. What it turns out is that we're going to save around $60,000 over the first 3 years of this change by reducing the monthly all the way down. And by month 36, we'll be at about 3,300. But by then, we think we'll be over 3,000 customers, if not more. So that's just an update where we're basically we're in a 10-year agreement with Plume that has now been reduced to a 3-year agreement. I believe when we signed our 10-year agreement, it was a very small span of time for Plume, the organization, to be offering 10-year contracts. They don't even offer 10-year contracts anymore. That leadership team that was offering 10-year contracts is no longer with the company. So just bad timing for us, very optimistic 4 years ago, and a chance for us to revise this and save some money. I just talked a lot. Any questions on Plume, where we are now?
Well, that's great, Dave. Thank you.
Yeah, it seems like that's going to help that one report that Amanda does every month that shows the monthly expenses versus revenue.
Yes. I mean, instantly $1,500 cheaper by going from
Right.
2,250 to 744.
Right.
February would have gone up to 2,700, and then September would have gone up again to 31.5. No matter how many customers we have, it was stated to continue growing and growing and growing. This just resets us and puts us on a better track.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay.
Town board seemed pleased with it too.
I mean, saving $60,000 is pretty hard to vote against.
Yeah.
All right. Fiber to the premises. It should be OLT. I don't know what an ONL is. So the town board also approved to award this to Calix last night at the town board meeting. This is kind of a big step forward in changing what we're doing regarding ONTs or ONUs at the homes that then talk to the boxes in the POPs, in the 4 POPs, as well as the Caroline POP. There are a couple things we noticed in the last couple of days, but the one big one is that Calix runs on DC power, where Sienna runs on AC power. The current POPs are all AC power. So Scott has done a lot of work with Calix, so he's pretty familiar with what other ISPs are doing in their POPs. So I asked him if he could share a little bit on this DC power piece for Calix.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know a lot about the DC power, but it's called a DC plant, really, and it goes in every location where DC equipment is installed. And a lot of carrier grade equipment is DC powered. So, Calix equipment is considered carrier grade, and they only offer it in DC. Um, so every pop and the CO, they all need a DC plant, and that's it's not all it is basically a piece of equipment. It's that mounts in the rack, and it has some batteries attached to it. And I don't know if you want to show them that picture, Dave, that I had sent you earlier, just so you can get a visual of that. But that's really all it is. But in order to work on this equipment, to install it, we need the power, obviously. So that's a step that has to be taken to get this Calix equipment online.
Yeah, let me see if I can grab that.
And I don't know what it costs. I don't have any idea.
But the ballpark was not too much. And I think actually I know that when Vantage did the audit of each of the three pops and the CO back in, when was that? May, June, July? Um, they had put in their plans for updates to the pops to include the DC power, knowing that this was a potential next step for us. And there is room in the pops for the equipment we need, both to add Calyx as well as for the device.
Yeah, I mean, in the cabinets, there's that room at the bottom that those batteries can go, because those cabinets are kind of raised up before equipment can get mounted. So I mean, there should be room in all of them to fit this and the Calyx equipment, and obviously there's plenty of room in the CO. So, um, but other than that,
Well,
I don't know what the costs are.
Graham, were
so
you
we
going
need
to ask
to,
something? Go
yeah,
ahead.
we need to address this for the Freeville pop. I assume that's the one that's
That's the
pressing at the
first one.
moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
But
we'll put this on the agenda for the kickoff with Vantage, Calyx, Netegrity, Trident Fiber to talk
so I
about.
have, I have a question though.
Good, Tony.
When we talked about and approved the resolution for the Calyx conversion, these costs were not incorporated into that, were they?
No, because they're not part of Calyx. But I think as an
Well, but they're
overall,
necessary to do the Calyx
Yeah.
conversion. So I would argue they should have been included as part of that Calyx discussion.
I think that the estimate for this was low enough that it was not something that we felt was going to be a blocker for the switch. From our discussion on the
I
cost of
mean,
these
we only
last
had the
spring.
one bid, right? So I guess it's a moot point.
Sure. I
But
mean,
I really
it could
think
have
this is
been.
something that should have been included. We should have at least been aware that there was this, in order to do the Calyx conversion, there was this additional piece that had to be done.
Mhm.
I mean, you mentioned, I knew this had to be done because we talked about DC power a while ago, but the, I don't know. To me, it should have been part of the discussion about Calyx because this is something we have to do in order to put this Calyx equipment in.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I don't know where that um, would have come up in the bid process, or if there's anything else that we haven't seen that we do have to do to
Was
implement
that
it
stuff in the purchase stuff that was approved by the town board last night?
for the DC power
Right.
conversion rectifier. No.
I
So
want
we,
to add that it looks like the town had some of the plans were to install these devices
Yeah.
even before Calyx was involved, because in some of your bill of materials you do have this equipment, but it is not. I actually don't. We had somebody look at it, and I don't recall what the status of it. I mean, it's been sitting in storage for a while. So this was a plan early on before even I was involved to install DC power in these racks, even before I installed any SCN equipment.
well, I think that was something that came
If you remember on Pinckney Road, there was the other cabinet that was installed next
right.
to the main cabinet. Well, that that was supposed to be DC. They had a DC rectifier in it,
Oh, okay.
but it was incomplete. It was incomplete, had no batteries, it wasn't functional, so it had to be removed. Well, it was removed to put the generator in. So, I mean, if that means anything, somewhere along the line, Dryden Fiber discussed, the town discussed DC power at some point because it's in the plans, it's in some of the inventory. Uh, so
Okay.
I think when we get to this meeting, Matt, we'll have to include you to know through what we have for existing inventory. There's probably some stuff in our inventory list that relates to this that we already have on hand. This will be on the agenda for when we have the first Calix Vantage integrity kickoff. And as soon as we have idea of what equipment we have, what's needed to get it implemented or ordered, and then the cost to install it, we'll share that with the board. I think our estimate is that it's under 10 grand, so it's not, it would not go out to bid. It wouldn't need multiple quotes. It wouldn't
Got it.
be.
Well, but and if we have the Calix equipment in hand by, what'd you say, January 9th was what was in the RFP.
Yeah.
It would be a pain if this delays that installation. I mean, it is what it is, but that would kind of be a little frustrating, I think, if it.
Yeah.
I don't think that would be. It doesn't sound like this is anything that will be hard to get a hold of, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
And Brad told me he wasn't doing anything for vacation. He's going to be working straight through until 2027. So we're good on resourcing on the engineering side to solve this.
Yeah.
Is he still here? He hasn't left yet.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm off Monday morning, but that's about it.
That's when we're meeting with Sean.
He's booking a trip to Bahamas now.
Wait till the first reimbursement check comes at least.
I'm on Expedia.com right now, Grim.
I mean, industry standard is that there are DC power plants in these pops, right? So
Yeah.
like I said, it's perfectly fine.
It's
It's just another thing we got to fix, right?
I think the reason why they weren't even installed completely is because all the equipment that was needed to get this online didn't have any DC power requirements. It was all AC.
Right.
So they kind of set it aside and said,
They kind of set it aside, yeah, because the Sienna equipment doesn't need it, right?
Yeah. Yes. But I think as you go here as a communications company, you're going to run into more DC power requirements with carrier grade equipment like that.
Well, yeah, like I said, it's the industry standard for these
Right.
things.
Yes.
Sienna is kind of an outlier that
I'm sure they have DC powered equipment. That just the equipment that was
They do.
chosen for the project is AC only.
right.
And you are right, Tony. We should have thought of this before. I wish we had
Yeah.
and included it.
But it is what it is, and
right.
this is where we are in this whole project, right? Is there's all these things that are sort of we're having to go back and work on, right? But
I mean, no matter what we do, there's
yeah.
these edge cases, but there's the little extras that are hidden that even with a lot of big field division, we're just not seeing everything.
Right.
All right. Speaking of Scott Brennan, Scott shared maybe a month ago or so that we have some IP address needs for 2026. There's a little bit of history about the IP addresses that the project has purchased, and then how we use them, and our projected date of running out of what we've already purchased.
Yeah.
You want to give this update, Scott?
Yeah. I mean, there are options here where you don't have to buy anything. But there are also, by doing that, it's also could potentially create, well, it would create some service issues for customers. And I'll try to explain it the best I can. So if you we have 500, I have 521 customers on the system, in showing. Um, so that's 521 IP addresses being used. And when we originally, started, we went to auction. This is for IPv4 addresses. The town purchased a /22, which is a little over 1,000 IP addresses. Um, some of those get subnetted out for the server and network equipment that we're using, and then the others go to the customers. So when a customer gets online, they get an IP address. So um, as we grow here, and we're getting to a point where eventually here soon, we're going to need to look at either purchasing more IPv4 addresses. We do have IPv6 addresses, and IPv6 is configured on the network. And so I'll give you the options here. We leave it the way it is, and then set up CGNet on the network for IPv4 only, and then hand out an IPv6 address and a CGNet address to the customers. The second option is to buy more public IPv4 addresses and also provide an IPv6 to the customer. So that's called a dual stack. And then what it does, and so a customer has a router on their network, and it gets not only an IPv6 from us, it also gets the IPv4. The difference between providing a public IPv4 and a CGNet, which is generated internally, and then the router will translate it to a public address. The disadvantages of that are, well, we'll have a dual NAT issue, a double NAT issue. So basically, our network, Dryden Fiber's network, is creating a NAT, and then it gets to the customer, and the customer's firewall is also a NAT device. So that creates another NAT. So the problem with that would be like online gaming becomes an issue, VPN tunnels for customers become an issue. So it's just not, there's different quirks with it, and that cause double netting causes issues for people. So most companies, no company I work with actually does netting. They all provide a public address because of this kind of issue. There'll be a lot of support calls based on, hey, I can't get my PlayStation to play this game online. So that'll happen with double netting. Going to auction to buy more is an option for Dryden Fiber. When you first purchased them, you purchased that /22, which is approximately 1,000 addresses. You paid around $45,000 for them. Okay, there's auctions right now. I see you're looking at it, Dave, but what I see right now is one that ends in 10 days. Another /22, which is 1,000 addresses, is $26,000 currently.
And will we need up to 3 of these then, do you think, to be done? Or would we
I
need?
mean, you could actually buy a bigger one. You can buy right now. There's an auction. There's a listing for a /20, which is probably more than you need. It's 4,096 addresses.
Yeah.
And that's currently around. It ends in 3 days. It's $94,000.
I think that's the one we're looking at on the screen.
So the thing about this is, because of the shortage of IPv4 addresses, you're buying these addresses, but there's a value to them. So if Dryden Fiber decides we don't want these addresses anymore, you could do the same thing these companies do and get rid of your excess addresses and sell them for, you'll probably make a profit at the time you would do that, from what you paid for them originally, because the price just goes up all the time. Currently, these prices are really good, but I think they're going to go up because it's it's an auction. It ends in 10 days here. But I just wanted to give you the options. It just creates a service issue when we have to use NAT, and we can't do IPv6 only because of other issues. I mean, it works, but I have a test device set up that I'm doing IPv6 only, and it works fine, except, I mean, for browsing the web, it works fine. Go google.com, all that, everything works great. The only time it fails is if I try to use an IP address and not a name. So if I decide to set up a VPN tunnel on a network that has an IPv4 address, it won't work. It won't be able to translate properly to the
Yeah.
network because
One of the ideas was that we were supposed to eventually be able to phase out IPv4 and
it,
go to IPv6 only, but yeah, that's not in
but
practice. That's not there yet.
all yes, dual stacking is the thing now,
Yeah.
which everybody gets this both addresses. But the problem is the end consumer device doesn't know how to just do IPv6.
Right.
It stayed at the dual stack kind of the way it works and it hasn't moved forward. I mean, once the consumer equipment allows it translates it within its own device, then we can just use IPv6. So
Is this something that Plume might be able to solve? So, like, people that take the Plume device as their router, is there a way that, like, we could make those IPv6 only?
that's my test device. So no,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
in fact they'll tell you in their
Give me trouble.
site that it's dual stack.
It's dual stack. Okay.
Yeah, so it's no way around. I've tried many ways to try to get this. I can get it to it works. It works,
Yeah.
but it works to
For
go to
the
web.
average person, it'll work, but like for
Yes,
me, it wouldn't because I do VPN tunnels. There's a lot of stuff I do that it
right.
just would not work for,
So
right?
the only way it would work for you, Tony, is you'd have to have an IPv6 address on the other end to be able to do a
Right.
VPN tunnel.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But going to eBay or Google or Netflix, all of that would work fine IPv6 only.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think we have to go with a dual stack. I mean, I don't
Yeah,
see
I think
how
we
we
do.
can
Yeah.
do it. I guess the best question is how I mean, so it looks like we would buy another 22 or buy a 20 and sell a piece of our 22 potentially. Is that well, what's your advice about knowing the market for the IP
Well, I mean,
addresses, Scott?
the prices are pretty consistent with what they were in the past year, or actually the past 6 months. I just I helped a company in an auction for some addresses, and the prices were about the same. So uh, I think that um, I mean, it changed. It seems to be changing all the time because when we first looked at it, it was double the price. When we first started with it, it was $45,000, I recall.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, I think now you can get, it looks like you're going to be able to, at the end of that auction, I bet you it doesn't go over the slash 20 wouldn't go over, or 22, I'm sorry. Slash 22 probably wouldn't go over 30,000, maybe just a little bit more than that. Now, what
The
you're looking
slash 20. Let me ask this. So Dave, what's the total number of households in Caroline and Dryden?
It's
Or
about 6,000 in Dryden and about 1,200 in Caroline for parcels. So it's about 7,200.
yeah.
But we're figuring about 8,500 total if every single person signed up.
Right, which they're not. We're not going to get every single person, but
I
still,
think the thing to look at would be
4,000 having 4,000 addresses is not unreasonable.
No.
Yeah.
And
we
so
currently have
you may want to look at the slash 22s because actually there were on your screen you just had there were two slash 22s. One was
Well,
94, one was 81.
yeah, slash 22 would be 1,000 addresses. Slash 20 would be
I'm sorry,
4,000.
there were two slash
It-
20s.
And
I'm sorry.
again, also when you're looking at those, you want to. I highly recommend you choose the ones that come from Aaron, ARIN there. The ripe one. Those are all from different countries, and
Oh,
who
okay.
knows what they're
All right.
doing with them, and they may be blacklisted in the U.S.
Yeah.
It could cause trouble. So the Aaron ones are the best ones to go with.
I think I kind of think we know we're going to need them. Let's I would say let's do the slash 20 instead of just doing this. Because if we do the slash 22, we're probably going to have to do another one in another 6 months, right? And
Yeah, I was looking
So
at the projections. Right now, we have 706 people pre-registered as of December 1st.
right,
All we have to do is get them in the green zone. So if nothing else happens, but we finish construction this year and everyone who's already signed up goes live, we'll be way over the current cap.
right.
This is
so
without
how
marketing to everyone else. So I imagine that we will not just hit 1,000 total customers, but not too far after that, we'll hit 2,000.
Right.
no
Mhm.
I want to add this will come with a challenge
Of
when
course.
you buy when there's the challenge is Aaron, the registry that handles all this process, will require justification. So we'll have to have documentation together when we submit this. And the justification will be why we need these addresses, and show them what we've already done. And the challenge is, okay, so we've had these IPv4 addresses that we currently have. We've had them for what, 3 years now or whatever it's been, and we have 500 customers online. Okay. So now you're telling me you need 4,000 addresses and you're going to need them within a couple of months or 6 months or whatever. So the challenge will be to get through that. They've never denied anything yet, but we have to have the documentation and maybe even reasons why we only have 500 on right now and we bought these so many years ago. So that's all. That's the challenge.
That's
And
we can handle that one. Okay.
Yeah, I'm sure we can.
and we can resell our other 22, right?
You could,
Yeah,
yep.
so yeah.
Maybe I would maybe wait on it, let the
Yeah.
prices go up a little bit, the demand, so that's all this is. These auctions are just different phone companies and communications companies like Dryden Fiber just getting rid of excess, and making money.
Well, I mean,
Yeah.
doing a /22, what's a /21?
That's the /21 is around 2,000 addresses,
Because maybe that might be another way to do it, right?
1,048, something like that.
Yeah.
And then we're up to 3,000.
And then it's
I
20
mean,
is
the point
40.
is that I suspect that when all is said and done, that will be over the 4,000, right? But who
Yeah, but we
knows?
can we can buy more
Yeah, we could buy more later.
when we hit
Yeah.
3,000 or
Yeah.
3,300 or what it depends. It depends on adoption rates as well as
Right.
the schedule of
I,
signups.
I'm
And
just thinking that a /22 is too small, given the speed of the project that's
Yeah.
projected through 2026.
Yeah.
My concern is that the /22 is not big enough.
yeah, that's only 1,000
That's
more.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so I concur with Tony. I think you're better to buy a 20 if we can get one at a
right.
reasonable cost.
Yeah.
And
A
Yeah.
20 or 21, right? Something more than a
yeah,
22, I think,
yeah.
is
Yeah,
because
Yeah.
I think if you get a 22, you're just going to have to go back out and get another 22 within a pretty short period of time.
yeah, and it looks like the cost for the 20s and 21s are reasonably close per address
Yeah,
compared to the 22, which is $5 more
right, right.
um, than the
Oh, that's
21s.
nice. It shows you the dollars per address, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think this is why Scott, man, maybe why he mentioned like the reason behind it. Otherwise, you could buy up a whole 19 and split it into smaller pieces and make some money on it.
And turn around and make it. Yeah,
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I don't think they don't want to have like a marketplace where
It's
that's
not gonna,
happening.
yeah, they'll definitely raise a red flag with Aaron if
yeah. You
you
don't
buy
want to
and
do that.
sell these like
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. But that lets us have a little bit of information that if we're going to buy 2,000, it's better to buy them all at once than buy 1,000 and then buy another
Correct.
1,000.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Right, right. Exactly right. That's why I think you should go with a 21 or a 20. I mean, a 20 would be better because hopefully with a 20, we'd be 2028 maybe before you really needed it, but I don't know.
And that'd be about 5,000 addresses. That should be enough for the short term,
Yeah, yeah.
but the medium term. Yeah.
Yeah.
Scott, anything else?
No, that's it. Thanks. I appreciate your time.
Do we don't need to decide today. We're not out of addresses today.
No,
When
no,
we
we
look at
have,
the projections, we will finish Freeville expansion. That'll easily be these 81 people who've already pre-signed up by the end of March. These will probably be all used. These 80 will be used probably by April 30th, say,
I think we
as
need to
well as
do
the rest
this.
of the network.
I think we need to do this in like the January, February timeframe, because
Yeah.
if this construction schedule, we need to operate that the construction schedule is going to be what we think it's going to be, right?
Yeah.
And you don't want to get to March, you don't want to get to the end of March and not have enough IP addresses to give people.
Yeah. This process will take 2 to 3 weeks.
Right. So I think this is something we need to do in the January meeting. If you want approvals or whatever, I think it's something we need to do then.
Amanda,
Oh,
regarding procurement, is there anything we should think about regarding going to auction to buy items?
So because I think this is already an auction and kind of a specialized item, I don't think we need to go to procurement. I do remember when we did this with Scott in 2022, it's a quick turnaround and it's an ACH and there's some steps. So yes, January would be better. We'll have money in from the ban, and so that would be cash wise a lot better. And in the new year, so it would be a 2026 purchase.
Do we need a town board resolution that says buy this at auction not to exceed X dollars?
Usually I just include it in the vouchers as the abstract approval, which currently we are scheduling that for the 15th of January. So I usually include it in the vouchers.
But we're not super pressed for time, so I don't want it to be like a runaway train on an auction just
Right.
because we think we can. It's like we hit our cap for 22 or 21 or 20. We'll come back next auction. But I like that it'd be some dollar amount that we say like not to exceed.
Yeah. And
well,
so
we could
I don't want to get a
could
bidding
do it.
war if we don't have to.
Yeah, but we could look at saying we'll buy this set of addresses if it's at this cost, or this set at this cost, so but pick the better, say we could do a 20, or we could do, if the 21 is within the delta, you might want to do that. But
So there is a meeting on the 8th that we could do a resolution at the meeting of the 8th saying, here's the current auction prices, and get authorization to purchase them, within that time delta that Graham was talking about, that price range. If that would be preferable.
Yeah, it could even be like not to exceed this dollar amount per address, whatever dollar amount we
Yeah.
set.
Yeah, that's what I
So
like
like
to go for.
that's the cap versus the sale price.
Yeah.
Scott, I think you're on it. You want to say one more thing?
No.
Okay.
As long as Scott will walk me through this again, because I
Yeah, we'll
remember
do.
it was
Yeah.
it was a
Yeah.
process.
Yeah.
But anyway, this is something I think that we need to address as a committee. We need to address in January is what, right?
Yeah,
Or
definitely.
Well, the meeting in January will be on the 16th.
Okay.
Yeah,
So we're
sounds-
kind of already behind.
So do we want to approve it? Is that our recommendation out of this meeting then?
Yeah, I think that'd be great if we can do
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
And I have a chat message from Arthur just saying IPv4
Right.
per customer. Yeah, we can.
Do we have enough? Yeah,
Entertain
Joel's
that.
here. We have enough here to do that, right?
Yep.
Mhm.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah. You'll have an endless amount of IPv6. So
Yeah, we don't need to worry about that. Yeah.
never.
So a /20 is 4,096,
Yeah.
and a /21 would be
2048.
2,048.
Yeah.
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 I mean, if we can do
Yeah.
I think we should, and I don't know. I think Graham's probably kind of the same place I am. If we can do the 20, we should do the 20. But we do. I think we need to do at least a 21. A 22 is too small.
I mean, if
Yeah.
you think about it, and I don't know how long it'll take to get up to that level of customer, 3,000 customers or whatever, 4,000 customers. And by that time, maybe technology will be different where the home router will do
Right.
that translation.
That's
So,
true.
I mean, maybe maybe if you just do a 21 to start, and
Yeah,
then if
I
you
think
need more later,
yeah,
then you may not need them at all anymore. You may need to,
yeah,
IPv6 might take over and work properly.
yeah.
So something to think about there.
That should have happened already. That was going to happen for four
It's been
years
an
ago,
IP,
5 years
IPv,
ago.
IPv6 has been around for like 25 years,
It
maybe
has been around a
more.
long time. Yep.
And
Yeah,
You're
everybody's
absolutely
afraid
right.
to move to it.
Yeah, yeah. So what do you need, Dave?
Uh,
Do we need to do a resolution or
yeah,
a
I'd say a
motion?
resolution to a motion to have the town to recommend to the town board that they approve purchasing
A
additional
slash
IP
21?
addresses for Dryden Fiber, a slash
21.
21, which is 2048, which would give us
Yeah,
3072
I think
total.
that's a good start. Any
Um,
Graham or anybody you think differently or
I think we should just go for the
the 20?
20 personally, but because I think we could sell it off if we, the other one, and you know,
I, I'm I'm fine either way. Uh, well, let's
and
say so. What if we do a motion to recommend to the town board that we need to purchase more IPv4 addresses? Recommendation is that we buy either a slash 20 or slash 21 uh,
yeah,
at a per address cost that does not exceed
25 bucks.
25 bucks.
I would go with 30 just to be safe because
Just to be
these
safe.
auctions are not done yet. And I've
Oh,
seen
okay. All right.
just
Yeah.
a few
Okay.
months ago, they went where it was like $32 the car.
Okay. Not to exceed 30. Okay.
and not to exceed 30.
And we paid a lot more than that for the first batch.
We
Yeah.
did pay a
Yeah.
lot more than that for the first batch. Yep.
It was like 45,000 for 1,000.
Yeah.
So 45 bucks each.
Yeah. So this would give us a bit over 5,000 altogether, which means we don't have to go back to this market and do this again, and we have potential then to sell some back to the market. So
Yes, of the 100 plus things we're thinking about, we can
yeah,
put this one at the end of the line to think
yeah,
about it again.
yeah. So we don't have to worry about it. I mean, that's the problem with these things. They keep eating up time that should be we better spend on engineering and stuff too. So I
So
think
what'd you say a slash 20 is? 4,000 what?
4,096.
Yeah.
And slash 21 is 2,048.
yeah.
And yeah,
The
what we
other
have
10,
now is
each one is
1,024.
1024, right? So
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it doubles each one, or it adds by
Well,
1,024.
so yeah, when it subnets out, when we subnet it takes away some of the usable addresses
Right.
that
That's right.
we have
Yeah.
available, but
Yeah.
it's minimal compared to what we're talking here with thousands of addresses.
So at 30 per address, that's 122,000, 122,880 is $30 per address of a slash 20. Just to put out there what the total dollars is, what we're talking about. So I guess, Amanda, the question is, if we're talking about something that's over $100,000, does that trigger anything with procurement?
Again, because it's an auction and because it's
Right.
specialized, I
Okay.
believe we're okay. But I
Okay.
think getting town board resolution ahead of time, because there's no way you can put this out for RFP.
Right.
It's really
Correct.
already out at
Correct.
RFP because
Yes.
it's an auction in a sense.
Mm.
So I
All right.
don't think there's any, it's an unusual situation, let's just say
Right,
it that
right.
way. But towns can buy things at auction, like at Auctions International for trucks without getting, they have to get approval, but they don't have to go through RFP process because it's already at auction.
So if we're recommending a slash 20, should we say per address, or should we put out the full amount and say not to exceed 125,000?
I think it's an either or.
Okay.
I don't think it makes, as long as we put a price, we list a price, would you be safer to do a total? Possibly, but then again, maybe it's a per would be better.
Right.
So I think it's an either or because both items, you're setting a price limit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the goal of that price is that on the day of the auction, as it's counting down, to not get into some back and forth
Yeah,
trap
or
where we're
right.
spending
So
way
what we
more
end up
than
spending $50 an address or something, which would be bad, right?
because we could. I mean, there are a lot of auctions now. The
Mhm.
early ones have pretty low dollar amount per.
Right, right, right.
Yeah.
I can't. I don't see any that are like 1 day left.
Yeah.
They're not.
Sometimes there's a buy now kind of one too that I don't see. Oh, yeah, there's a
Yeah,
buy
there's
now.
some buy nows. Yeah.
They're all actually all those are
See,
buy now.
that one's $50 an address.
But I think the buy now uh the price is not,
Right.
I don't think they show. I don't know if they show you.
But there was a
You
buy
gotta
now
get down.
for at 19 for 20 for /20 there. So.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think they're all actually. I think they're all buy now, but they're set at a certain reserve price that it's probably higher than what the current auction price is.
it tends to be how it is.
Right. This is
Yeah,
very much like eBay, right? So,
exactly. Yep. eBay.
well, I guess
And you can give them.
The thing is, if it doesn't happen the first day we try it, as these run out, we could literally on some of these go back the next day, look for the
Yeah.
next /20,
yeah.
and then keep finding it until we find one that hits our budget goal.
I mean, Scott, do you think 125,000 for a /21 is a doable figure?
I can't
/20.
say. I don't. I'm not sure.
Because we
I
don't,
don't watch these all the
right.
time.
We don't know what they've actually gone. We don't know what a recent, like what recent /21s have
Yeah.
actually gone for. We can
No,
just see.
I only know it with ones I've worked on with other customers and the last slash the customer bought a /22 1,000 addresses and it was $32 an IP. Um, so I think if you're buying more IP addresses, the price
They
goes
tend to
down
be a
per
little lower.
address. Yeah.
Um, well, we could try it. I think we'd probably be better off saying 125,000, not to exceed. So we're recommending a /21
/20.
or no,
That's
/20. Sorry,
Right.
/20. I keep getting those numbers mixed up.
I had to write
A
them all down.
/20 for 100 and not to exceed 125,000.
All right. Do we have a second?
I will second that motion.
Thanks, Graham. Or any other discussion? All in favor?
I am.
Aye.
Joel, Arthur?
Aye.
That's 4. I don't hear Joel, but 4 is enough to carry the
Yeah.
majority. Okay. The last thing, talk about construction, upcoming dates and topics. The January reporting meeting I have set for the December business, everything we do in the month of December, for January 16th, which is 3 weeks from now. Somehow it's already January. Then the week after that, an organizational meeting, which is looking at all the things that are up for renewal in the course of a year. Not necessarily budget, but like appointments, or Amanda and I are creating a list of things for this brand new functional meeting just to make sure we have someone watching everything at least once a year. That would be on the 23rd and for the whole Public Broadband Committee. Then we go into February, where the first meeting of the February is to look at January business. The second meeting, I put tentatively the annual budget for Dryden Fiber, and then March, talking all about MDUs, and then April doing marketing. Again, we can change these anytime, but that's a projected next 3 to 4 months of time for the non-reporting meeting agendas. Any questions or feedbacks on those? Okay. Finally, I added this. I'll send this document to the Broadband Committee. Caroline Hutt is now there. It looks like this. It's actually in Caroline. It's arrived.
Oh wow, I
Wow.
just drove by there like a few days ago.
It
That
arrived on
must have
Wednesday.
just gone in.
This was on the 17th at 4:18
Okay.
p.m. It's from the back. This is kind of standing closer to the town hall, looking out toward Midline Road.
Yep.
That is, I believe, from the driveway to the apartment buildings that are behind the town hall in Caroline, with a handhole. If you haven't seen a handhole, that's what it looks like.
Mhm.
Generator on its own pad.
Yeah.
And this is where it's being lifted. So this is kind of reverse order, but this is being lifted from the
Yeah,
truck.
nice.
So you can take a look at the pictures in this file, or you can drive down to Caroline Town Hall and see it in person. It's now there. And thank you
Awesome.
for Tony and Graham, in particular, for helping this project by helping to dig with your shovels back in October.
Yeah, we dug so much.
It would not have been the same without the shovel loads we moved that day.
The 3 inches of dirt was
That's right. That's right. It's really there. It's right about where we had the dig site too. I think that's all I have. Huge transformational year, as I wrote in the letter that you'll see in the text inserts coming in about 10 days. Um, New design, new engineering firm, new way to bid out work and get the teams hired, and huge growth. We had a little under 200 customers a year ago. Now we are over 500. So pretty substantial year. And next year is just going to be insanely busy with everything across the board from construction, installations, and then operating as Matt and Amanda and I operate this thing with the help of the Broadband Committee. It's going to be a big year. And thank you all. As I said last time we chatted 2 weeks ago, this is impossible to do without the support of the Public Broadband Committee. The work that you bring to this and how you think about the issues and have the ideas and look for the blind spots. Anyone in this executive director position would be grateful to have a team of engaged Broadband Committee members helping out. So thank you for your time. It's game changer. All right, we're right at noon. Any last words, anyone, before we break for the holidays? Come back on January 16th.
I do want to mention that the account manager position was posted, and if anybody knows a great person fit for that job, it's posted on civil service website. We are looking to move some things off of Dave's plate kindly, and because he's got a lot going on, but also to continue to grow the Dryden Fiber. So just want to put that out there. If you know somebody that's looking
Where
for a
is that
change and want to work
posted?
locally, please direct them to the civil service website.
Civil service website.
Yep, it'll be under the town of Dryden.
Oh, so just on the town of Dryden, there's a link to
Yeah,
the
there's a
civil service
vacancy
website.
listed for town of Dryden.
Oh, civil service.
So just, you guys, you know people, everybody knows people, so I just wanted to put that out there.
I'll share a link with the Broadband Committee to it so you can take a look at the description.
And we're hoping Santa will bring Dave, around 100, 215 kVA transformers.
Yeah. I will take 200 of those right now, and then even more right after that. Yes, that would be a good treat in the stocking. All right, thanks everyone. Have a great weekend and happy holidays, and we'll see you
Happy
if not
holidays.
sooner,
Happy
2026.
holidays.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dave.
Everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
See ya.
Thank you.